Hi, how you doing?
You Bill?
Yep.
Tom Silver, Estes House. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for coming by.
Well, thank you. I understand you wrote me about some doors.
Yep, we moved into this house about 9 months ago, and we're having some issues with the doors closing.
This is a nice house. Wide open floor plan. This is great.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we have a lot of family over, and it's good for entertaining. One of the problems that we do entertain is that this bathroom is right off the kitchen, and when the guests come to use it, if they close the door, it doesn't want to latch.
Doesn't stay closed.
So it makes for some embarrassing situations, and I'd like to see if there's some way, if you could make a suggestion how we can fix that.
Well, let's take a look first on how the door closes and fits from the inside. All right, the first thing I look at when I close the door is the spacing between the door and the jamb. And I notice here on the latch side, there's a wider space at the top than there is on the hinge side.
Okay.
Next thing I want to look for is the spacing as we go down to the bottom of the door. And I notice that the space is much wider on the bottom than it is on the top.
So something's out of whack.
Something is definitely out of whack. Now, we could rehang this door completely. To do that, we would have to remove the trim on both sides of the door jamb, take the door jamb out, reshim it, plumb it, and make it fit right.
Okay, that sounds like a lot of work.
That's a big job.
Okay.
All right. Now, the easiest solution would simply be to take this striker plate and move it down.
All right, well, that sounds like a good option.
Well, all we have to do is chisel it out here and re-drill out a little bit of the wood right there, and the striker arm would go in. That's the quickest and easiest way to do it.
Okay.
But what that doesn't do is it doesn't address the issue of the uneven spacing of the door and the relationship to the jamb. Because you have that space, it actually works in our favor. That would allow me to adjust this door in the opening simply by working the hinges.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. Thanks, Bill. Okay, now with the door closed, we actually have a gap at the side right here, and we don't have a gap at the side right here.
Okay.
But at the top, we have a gap here and no gap here.
All right, I understand.
Now, seeing how we don't have a gap on this side, I'm not going to touch this hinge. I want to use it as a pivot point to allow me to adjust the door in the opening.
Okay.
To do that, I'm simply going to work with these two hinges right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some shims to go behind these two hinges, moving the door over and up.
Okay, what are you going to use for shims?
We're going to use some strips of cardboard.
Okay.
So first thing I want to do is remove the hinge so I can make a template. All right, now what I'm going to use is this cardboard right here as a filler. And I'm simply going to take the hinge and lay it on the cardboard. Using my knife, I'm going to follow the hinge to cut an outline. Okay, now I want to make a bunch of these, so I'm just going to keep cutting them, because I don't know how many fillers we need yet. Now we just cut them out. Now that our shims are cut, I'm going to insert these in the mortise on the jamb and the door, and we're going to cover them up with the hinge. What that does is pull the hinge out. Think of this as the door. This right here being the top hinge in a pivot point. As we put the shims in here, pulling the hinge out, that pushes the door over on the bottom. But if you notice, it also pushes the door up at the top, which will pull the striker up, letting the striker arm go into the hole. Now at the bottom hinge, I'm going to start with 3 shims at the jamb, and I'm also going to put 3 shims in the door. So now I got to hold that there, put this up. I'm going to screw into the same holes with the same screws. Now I'm going to put 3 on the door. All right, I used a total of 6 shims on the bottom hinge, 3 on the jamb and 3 on the door. Now, because this hinge is halfway up the door, I'm going to use half the amount of shims. I'm going to put 2 on the jamb and 1 at the door. Last screw. Let's see if the door latches. Want to try it, Bill?
Sure. Seems to catch. Works fine.
Notice the gap up the side of the door is more consistent now.
Yeah, it's a great job, Tom.